Late one night, YouTuber Franco TV chose to explore an old graveyard by himself. The place was completely silent, broken only by rustling leaves and the echo of his footsteps between the tombstones. As he walked deeper inside, he noticed a huge spider hanging from a tree ahead of him. When he tried to carefully move past it, a strange sound suddenly shattered the silence. He spun around instantly, but there was no one there.
Look at the size of this guy. That's a crab. What the hell was that?
Seconds later, a soft, haunting cry drifted through the darkness. It sounded unmistakably like a woman's voice.
What the hell is that? Oh. That sounds like a scream coming from inside here.
Franco followed the noise deeper into the darkness until a shadowy figure suddenly emerged and urgently warned him to leave at once.
Hello?
Get out of here.
Sorry, just exploring.
Don't belong here.
That's the guy I saw. All right. Sorry to bother you. What the fuck is she doing? I'm out, I'm out. Saying let's go or some shit. All right, so I think that's a homeless camp.
The man continued to trail behind him, repeating the warning over and over, as if making sure Franco didn't ignore it.
So I think there's definitely people living inside the graveyard in here. It's coming out.
Some believe it was simply a caretaker doing his job. Others are convinced it wasn't human at all. A YouTuber known as A Tiny Nomad is a solo traveler who films her car camping journeys across Alaska. On October 29, 2025, her original plans fell apart, leaving her to spend the night in a Russian Orthodox cemetery in Anchorage, a place known for its bright colors and spiritual atmosphere. When she parked near the old chapel, a motion-activated light suddenly clicked on, even though nothing appeared to move.
You guys, I'm not making this up right now, but there's a light in front of the church, and when you walk past the light, it turns on. I know, because I walked over there 2 times to look at the cemetery, and now I'm in my car, and it's flicked on 2 times. It's not windy outside. It could be an animal, I guess. I did hear something in the bushes as well when I was looking at one of the tombstones. I don't know if that's what you call them, because they're not stones. But you know what I mean. There's no way I'm going to be able to sleep tonight here. I'm going to try, though. I do not like how that light keeps turning on and off. I'll show you what I'm talking about. There's a light that lights up the front of the church. And there it goes. It's turned on twice since I've come back.
Later, as she was reading about spirit houses and their ties to the afterlife, the light flicked on once more. again without any visible movement.
I decided to Google what the name of those colorful boxes are. They're not tombstones, and they actually call them spirit houses. How cool is that? But how not cool is it that right when I was Googling about the spirit houses, the light in front of the church turned on again. Are the spirits trying to say something, you guys? Seriously? I was just reading a little bit more about the spirit boxes, and they symbolize shelter for the departed soul in the afterlife. Right as I read that sentence, of course, that light turned on again. Of course, it could mean nothing, but it could mean something.
There was no wind, no traffic, no animals, nothing that should have set it off. Uneasy, she stayed inside her car, watching as the light kept turning on and off through the night. She tried to sleep, but it never stopped.
Every tiny little noise is freaking me out at this point, and that damn light will not stop going on and off. I'm gonna have to just ignore everything and try to lay down and fall asleep. Oh, jeez Louise. Why do I do this to myself? It's only one night, Gina. One night, that's it.
When daylight finally arrived, the light remained off, and she decided it was time to leave and not stay there anymore. A woman came across an old VHS tape while going through her family's belongings and decided to send it to Day's Dark Adventures. The footage had been recorded by her grandfather, who used to film his property because he believed strange figures appeared there. He often spoke of shadows, horned silhouettes, and hairy shapes that vanished whenever he tried to get closer. One day, while recording, he stepped away to collect firewood and noticed something dart through the trees. He searched the area but found nothing. It wasn't until much later that the family realized the camera had been recording the entire time and had captured the figure in the background. The footage remains unexplained to this day. Were people deliberately trying to frighten him? Or was the camera really capturing something dark and inhuman? YouTuber Roadie, a lone hiker from the US, ventured into the High Sierras on May 10, 2018. He pitched his camp, made himself dinner, and crawled into his tent for the night. As the final traces of daylight disappeared, the forest fell eerily quiet and he tried to fall asleep. Then, without warning, something snapped him wide awake.
This guy's been yelling for the last few minutes. Pretty sure it's a mountain lion and not a fox.
A piercing cry rang out through the night. Roadie didn't step outside, choosing to stay put inside his thin tent until dawn. When the sun finally came up, the forest had returned to its quiet, peaceful state, as if nothing had happened at all.
It's like 6:30 in the morning right now. It's freezing out. But check out this. Got some ice forming on my tent. Pretty much after I crawled in last night, the snow stopped. It wasn't that bad, but it was definitely cold. Also, it was super cool to hear that mountain lion last night. Just reminds you that they're out here. Got the chills going down my spine though, for sure. I don't know what these are. Maybe mountain lion, because you can see it looks like it's walking kind of the way a cat does, the feet close together. Who knows? These look like they've been here for a while.
Up on the ridge above his camp, fresh, oversized paw prints were pressed deep into the dirt. Whatever made them had passed nearby. It hadn't been far away at all. Late one night, a woman who lived deep in the woods reviewed her home security footage and noticed something unsettling. A deer quietly crossed her yard, moving just as you'd expect. But that wasn't what drew her attention. Right behind it, a small figure suddenly sprinted past. It appeared to be running upright on two legs, fast and deliberate, almost like it was chasing something. The footage was dark, but the shape looked wrong. Too short to be a person, too smooth to clearly be an animal. Some people suggested it might have been a monkey, though that made little sense for the location. In the end, no one could say for sure what it really was. Late one night in rural Malaysia, a man was making his way back to camp along an isolated dirt road when an uneasy feeling crept over him. From the shadowed tree line on both sides, it felt like something unseen was watching his every step.
Sebuah jin, seekor. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Moments later, a pale shape burst from the trees and charged directly at him. Startled, he sped off, convinced he had just encountered a pocong, a spirit from Indonesian and Malay folklore. According to legend, a pocong is the soul of someone buried with their burial shrouds still tied at the head, neck, and feet. If those knots aren't undone after 40 days, the spirit is said to remain trapped. Still, something about this clip feels off to me. The movement looks strange, almost like it doesn't fully belong in the scene. So what do you think? Is it edited? A prop? Or is there another explanation entirely? A man was walking through the woods near his home when he came across a strange-looking tree.
I'm just out walking my property and never seen a tree quite like this. Okay, so this is the main trunk, right? Goes there, goes up, shit, I don't know, 30, 40 foot. That's probably about a foot around diameter. Then it sprouts off this way, and it's pretty damn thick, probably at least 2.5 foot. Goes up again, like its own separate tree, probably 1.5 foot around. It's a little taller, it's probably closer to 40 foot. And then it just dies off at this end, doesn't even connect back to the ground. So all the weight from this tree, I mean, they're one tree, but they're two trees, if that makes sense. But all the weight from this tree is just resting on here. There's nothing, connecting it. So that is one strong fucking trunk.
From one side, a thick branch rose upward like a completely separate tree. It wasn't rooted in the ground, yet it stood tall and solid, nearly as large as the main trunk itself. The man had never seen anything like it before, and after posting it online, he realized he wasn't alone. Reddit user RoyalGoat696987 was spending a relaxed night with family around a campfire at the far end of Hatteras Island in the Outer Banks. Everything felt normal until they took a photo. When they looked at it later, something unsettling stood out. A dark figure appeared near the fire, even though no one had been standing there at the time. Even stranger, the shape seemed to be wearing shoes that no one in the family owned. To this day, the user has no explanation for what the camera picked up in the background, only the feeling that something about it is deeply wrong. A group of hikers were making their way through the forest, snapping photos and enjoying a quiet day outside. Everything felt ordinary until they noticed something odd beneath a tree up ahead. Curious, they stepped closer and suddenly froze. Partially concealed in the leaves stood a tall, fur-covered figure nearly 7 feet tall. Its wide shoulders were unmistakable, and its face showed pointed ears and a long snout. At first glance, they thought it might be a bear, but it clearly wasn't. Shaken, they grabbed a quick photo and ran. Some later claimed it could have been a dogman or a werewolf, while others believe it was staged to scare passersby. Either way, stumbling upon something like that is anything but funny. On Halloween night in 2022, Rick was camping alone in a remote stretch of woods near his home, an area already known for strange occurrences. While filming near an old abandoned church, he suddenly noticed someone standing alarmingly close to his camera.
Bye, church. The hell is that? Hang on. Did you see that? Or was that just me? There's my gimbal. I left my gimbal there. Swear. This me. Oh, There was someone standing there. There was someone standing right here. I swear to God, there was someone standing right here by my gimbal.
He quickly gathered his equipment and retreated to his van. When he reviewed the footage later, it clearly showed a figure standing near the fence. Then, around 1 a.m., someone attempted to open the doors of the van.
What is it? 1 o'clock in the morning. And I swear blind, I just got woken up by someone trying the van door handles. There was a knock. There was definitely a knock. Someone was trying the van door handles as well. I'm going to turn the lights out. Someone was trying the van door handles. Okay. I heard a car pull up. There's definitely a car pulled up outside. I'm gonna have a look. Well, that was weird. I opened the van doors and then within a minute there was a car reversing up and it's just driven off. So it's all quiet out there now, so I'm just gonna try and get myself back to sleep.
A car pulled up soon after, but the moment Rick switched on his lights, it drove off. Then, at 2:15 a.m., that very same vehicle returned again.
Right, it's happening again. I can't believe this. Let me turn the lights on. I've heard that car come back at its spot. 2:45 now. That van's come back, well, that car's come back. That 4x4 vehicle. I can't hear anyone. I can't hear anyone talking outside. There we go. Right. I literally haven't slept. This. I am going home. They've driven off again. I didn't even look out. I just peered through my curtains that I've got up. Through the curtains there, I can see outside. And it's driven off again. I don't know if this is anywhere I shouldn't be parked, but I'm going. I'm not staying here anymore.
He didn't wait around. Whatever happened that night wasn't paranormal. It was a real person following him in the darkness. A Reddit user hiking the Trail of 10 Falls was soaking in the calm of the forest when he suddenly heard something deeply unsettling. A loud, unnatural scream rang out through the trees. Terrified, he stayed on the trail and started recording, too afraid to move any closer to where the sound came from. Later that night, he played the audio for his wife, only for her to admit she'd heard the exact same screaming the day before in that very area. He spent hours comparing the sound to local bird calls, searching for a logical explanation, but nothing matched. Whatever made that noise didn't sound right, and it left one unsettling question behind. Was something truly wrong in those woods? Luckily, when he shared the recording online, most listeners recognized the sound as ravens, birds infamous for calls that can eerily resemble a child screaming. Others argued it might have been a fox or even a cougar. In the end, it was almost certainly just wildlife, even if it didn't sound that way in the moment. A woman and her friend were relaxing at a park near their campsite when they snapped this photo. Later, while looking at it, they realized something unsettling. Far behind her, right in the middle of the frame, stood a pale figure dressed in what looked like a suit. They immediately turned around to check, but no one was there. Feeling uneasy, they hurried back to their campsite and warned the others. As much as I want to take their story at face value, there's something about the figure that feels off, almost like it may have been added to the image afterward. Do you agree? In 2012, a Reddit user shared a story from a friend who claimed to have discovered a handwritten note while hiking in Scotland. The message was supposedly written by a man named Graham. In it, he described his wife's betrayal, his worsening illness, and his intention to end his life on Helen. But as people examined the story, unsettling inconsistencies emerged. Helvellyn is in England, not Scotland, and no missing person named Graham was ever reported. As time passed, most concluded the note was a hoax, a planted prop meant to unsettle hikers and ignite an eerie online mystery. Still, the question lingers. What if it wasn't fake? What if Graham was real? A group of friends were staying at a cabin when they suddenly noticed something moving on a nearby mountainside.
Dude, I'm telling you guys, it's not a fucking person, bro. Look.
What the fuck is that? That's a hiker.
No, it's not, bro. That's not a person.
That's way bigger than a fucking hiker, bro.
Bro, that's not. Oh, fuck, it just disappeared. What the fuck?
The figure appeared unnaturally large, far bigger than any person should be. As they continued watching and filming, it suddenly vanished without a trace. That's when the questions started. Was the footage edited, or did they actually capture something real? Maybe even something not from here. A group of campers were standing directly on the rally track, unaware that a car was about to come through, until a helicopter overhead signaled that a vehicle was approaching. They moved aside at the last possible moment, narrowly avoiding disaster. The crowd appeared completely unaware of how dangerous the situation was, which raises serious questions about why there were no barriers in place. What if they had noticed even 1 second later? While walking along a remote road late at night, a Reddit user suddenly encountered something deeply unsettling, a sight that immediately made them stop and question what they were seeing.
I mean, this is number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, top 5 ever. This is absolutely insane. I'm not even kidding. Somebody took the top off the Maybach on him too. That's the most rice. I mean, that's Mount Everest. That's the disco rice Mount Everest. I don't even know what to say. This is the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen. Ever.
A dead crocodile was lying along the roadside, its body coated in what first looked like a layer of sand. But when the hiker stepped closer, the truth was far worse. It wasn't sand at all. The entire body was alive with movement, crawling with maggots while flies swarmed overhead. The carcass was already far into decomposition, and not long after, there was nothing left of it but bare bones. In Kentucky, locals share a dark legend about a man who murdered his wife and child after learning of her affair. Since then, drivers say they've spotted the spirit of a child wandering along that same stretch of road at night. Recently, a van camper's dash cam captured footage of a small figure standing near the roadside. Others who regularly travel that route claim they've seen the same figure, sometimes appearing directly in the middle of the road. Some even say their vehicles pass straight through it, like mist. Still, no one had ever managed to capture it on camera quite like this before. This footage was filmed in Praia Grande, São Paulo.
Será, hein? Tá estranho, hein? Olha isso, a cena. Nossa, cara. Estranho, a galera parando aí pra ver, ó, curioso. Será o que é isso aí, hein, gente? Amarrado, viu? Sim, né? Parece uma pessoa, acho muito estranha essa cena aí, gente. Só passa, poeira.
A strange plastic bag was discovered tied up on the sand near the shoreline. It looked heavy and suspicious enough to raise immediate concern. Later, local news confirmed it wasn't anything dangerous at all. The bag was stuffed with empty plastic bottles. Nothing more than a prank meant to scare passersby. Still, it did its job. From a distance, it looked unsettling enough to make anyone stop and stare. Jason from the channel Exploring Intuition was camping alone deep in Shaw State Forest in April of 2020. Not long after setting up, the silence was suddenly broken by a sharp gunshot echoing through the woods.
Hey guys, so I was just getting set up here and I heard some gunshots off in the distance and some people. It's kind of far off, but you know, the people I can handle. This is a public area after all. Gunshots not so much, you know. I'm hoping those just stay where they're at, but I'm gonna continue setting up camp and have a quiet evening, hopefully.
He chose to stay where he was and continued setting up his camp, doing his best to stay calm and not let fear take over.
You hear that? It's a coon dog, I think. That noise I've been hearing, I think it's people out doing some coon hunting. I think, even though it's kind of early in the day to be doing some coon hunting, I think normally you do that at night, but I'm not an expert. That's what it sounds like to me. Hopefully they don't come back this way, but if they do, I guess they do. We'll have to deal with it. They won't find no coons around here because I've been scaring them away. I'm not sure that's coon dogs now that I hear it. Hope that's not coyotes. Well, I am armed just in case, so I guess we'll see what happens. Part of the fun of being out in the wilderness by yourself.
As night settled in and he focused on getting a fire going, a sudden sound cut through the darkness, stopping him cold.
Those sound more like wild dogs to me. Don't know what they're going on about. They sound like they're just on the other end of the holler, so I hope they stay there. One dog's not too bad to deal with, but 8 or 9, that could be a problem. Almost time to do some cooking. Fire's taking a while to burn down. That wood's a little wet.
Jason forced himself to keep his composure and continued preparing his meal. But before long, the unsettling sounds returned once more.
Well, it sounds like those dogs are getting closer. I might have some trouble tonight. I may have to stop cooking. Who would have thought of all the things you're going to have to deal with in the woods, it's going to be wild dogs. Well, it sounds like the dogs have started to go the other way, and I'm thankful for that. But now I'm starting to lose my fire because I was too preoccupied perhaps dealing with them to work on my fire. Well, it looks like this fish is done, so I'm going to dig in. Well, the more I listen, the more I think that those are hunting dogs and somebody's out training them, because I can hear the guy down there now hollering for him to come back or something like that. For a minute he was doing a whoop and it freaked me out because I don't know if you guys watch any other videos on YouTube, but when you're in the middle of the woods and you hear a whoop, that's normally time to get out of the woods, but so far so good.
Fortunately, the night passed without anything terrible happening. Around 10 p.m., after a Battlefield Ghost Bus tour, a woman and her niece pulled over near Cemetery Ridge to snap a few photos. The area was silent, wrapped in mist, and the atmosphere felt heavy and uneasy. They took their pictures only seconds apart. Her niece's photo showed nothing out of the ordinary, but in the woman's image, a strange figure appeared, a solitary man standing or walking along the ridge. There was no one else around that night. They were sure they were completely alone. The figure existed only in the photograph, as if a long-lost soldier was still roaming the battlefield. A family was camping near the beach when they snapped this photo of their child smiling. At first, nothing looked out of place, but hours later, when they looked at the image again, they were stunned. Standing right in front of him was a person wearing a face mask, staring straight into the camera. They hadn't noticed anyone at the time, likely because it was completely dark outside. Yet in the photo, it looked like someone had been there the whole time, close enough to hear them talking. They couldn't shake how unsettling the figure appeared. What were they doing there? And what did they want? The family was shaken, left wondering what might have happened if they'd stayed any longer. On his weekend off, a man went out to check a trail camera he had placed deep in the woods. He expected the usual captures, deer passing through, raccoons at night, maybe a lone coyote. But this time was different. The camera had recorded something unsettling, an image of a young girl walking alone through the forest. According to him, the location was extremely remote. No nearby homes, no campsites, no logical reason for anyone, especially a child, to be there. What made it even stranger was her appearance. She seemed to be wearing some kind of costume, complete with pointed ears. So the question remains, why was a young girl, dressed like that, wandering alone through isolated woods? A man set out to camp deep in a silent forest, hoping for some peace and quiet. But later that night, while reviewing his footage, he noticed something unsettling. His camera had captured a figure he hadn't seen at the time, standing there in the darkness. The clip spread fast because no one could clearly identify the figure. Some people even claimed it resembled a pocong from Indonesian folklore. But that's exactly why the story feels questionable to me. He appears to notice it in the moment, zooming in directly on the figure instead of reacting in fear. And that raises a fair point. If this was truly something that disturbing, wouldn't he have been a lot more scared? In 2008, a group of 5 people stayed at a cottage near Blackhead Lighthouse in County Antrim, Northern Ireland. Late one night, one of them snapped a photo. The woman wearing the white top was part of their group, and at the time, nothing about the picture seemed unusual. But once they went back inside and looked closer, they noticed something else had been captured. A tall, dark figure was standing directly behind her. Only the woman and the photographer had stepped outside, and the shape didn't resemble anyone they were with. The photo was taken after 11 p.m., a time when no one would normally be walking there without a flashlight. Online, some believe the figure could be the ghost of a former lighthouse keeper. Who really knows? Late at night, while heading back from a hike, a man came across something unsettling hidden inside a tree. A small figure, crudely made from twigs and string. He pulled it out, took photos of it, and then did something most people wouldn't dare. He brought it home. Online users immediately warned him not to mess with objects like that, calling it a cursed doll. Later, the man shared an update saying he was fine and planned to keep it on a shelf as decoration, but many said he'd made a serious mistake. You don't take things like that out of the woods. Some things are better left exactly where they belong. A man traveling through Japan captured something unusual while filming the sky.
Nani kore? 今までと出方が全然違いますね。
He noticed a glowing orange sphere drifting downward through the sky, shining with a constant, steady light. It didn't flicker or blink like an airplane or drone. As it descended, the glow intensified, then vanished behind the treetops. Seconds later, another identical orb appeared, following the exact same path. Same color, same shape, same silent movement. Many ruled out fireworks or lanterns, saying the light was far too stable and intense, while others suggested it could have been an unusual natural phenomenon. While hiking along the Kings Creek Falls Trail in Lassen Volcanic National Park, a group of visitors spotted something unusual in the ground ahead. Strange holes dotted the earth, out of place and impossible to ignore. Curious and uneasy, they moved closer and decided to start recording.
Yo, we had the trio.
Without warning, strange insects started bursting out of the holes. The hikers had never encountered anything like them before. Later, specialists identified the creatures as tiger beetle larvae. These insects live hidden in burrows and shoot upward to ambush passing prey with their strong jaws. They may look unsettling, but thankfully they pose no danger to humans. A man was moving through the forest when his attention caught on a dark silhouette standing completely still beneath a towering tree. The moment he realized it was facing him, fear hit hard. He stopped, raised his camera, and zoomed in. The eyes reflected the light in a way that felt disturbingly human, not animal at all. That was enough. Panic took over and he ran without looking back. Let's just hope whatever he saw chose not to follow. A man was spending the night in his van when a sudden storm rolled in, and he managed to capture some incredible footage of what followed. But is it authentic, or has it been altered? Storm clouds can naturally create eerie shapes, and with a little editing, those moments can look far more dramatic than they really are. So is this a genuine capture, or just clever manipulation? A man living in East Texas was going through his home security footage after receiving several motion alerts late at night. As the video played, he suddenly froze. Behind his wooden fence, deep in the darkness, a large, unknown figure could be seen moving slowly across the yard. Whatever it was, it stood taller than the 6-foot fence itself. That detail alone made the footage unsettling. Could it have been nothing more than a distorted shadow from someone passing nearby? Or was there something else lurking near his property that night? And if it really was a person, that only raises more questions. Why were they there? And what were they doing so close to his home in the middle of the night?